Have you ever felt like just not doing enough in my routine? Sometimes you may even feel
I'm so tired from exercising yesterday. I don't want to do anything because you overextended yourself.
and then you look at the scale and you ask yourself, oh man, what in the world is going on here?
Do I need to change my routine? Do I need to change my eating habits? Is it too much? Is it too little?
You know what time it is. You know what you have to do.
It's time to find balance and stay on track.
Guys, as you can see from that video, we talking about the exercise. Too much, too little. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Yes.
We're going to talk about a lot of stuff.
Yes.
At the Spice.
Talking about exercise life.
Chris Angela here. How you doing, Angela?
Doing pretty good. No complaints as always. Try my best to be grateful. And yourself?
Yeah. Most of the time I don't. I'm sure some things happen, but right now I'm doing good.
Great. I'm glad to hear that.
Riding good.
Yeah.
Good to know it. Good to show it. But, yeah, I mean, that's a good question. How do you know if it's too much or too little? And you sent me a good article. It's a scientific article that was written by David Neal.
Yeah.
In the Science Alert on their website. And I'll just look. The first part says, we know that spending lots of time sitting down isn't good for us. So that's obvious. But just how much exercise is needed to counteract the negative health effects of sitting down all day? Now, one thing I'm going to add to that before, Angela, you read some more of this is it's not just sitting down, but also we do eat.
Yes.
So that's a combination of things. You sit down, you're sedentary and you're eating.
Yes.
So how do you counteract all of that? How do you counteract the sedentary part and then sustenance? Of course, it depends on what you eat.
That's true.
But there's been some research, like on the average day. I guess if you have something to eat, I'm imagining they're factoring this in, and you were sedentary. What was it that the researcher suggests?
Research suggests about 30 to 40 minutes per day of building up a sweat, and which is something
building up a sweat that'll get it done.
They said it should do it. 30 to 40 minutes a day, and they say building up a sweat.
Yeah. So.
And it says also up to 40 minutes of moderate to vigorous intensity physical activity every day is about the right amount to balance out 10 hours of sitting still, the research says, although any amount of exercise or even just standing up helps to some extent.
Okay. So I'm trying to find out, does that mean just involving 10 hours of what they said? They're not factoring any food in there?
I'm not sure whether that food is involved. And you got to think about the effects of exercise, what's going on with the body. If you're exercising, let's say even the food that you're eating, your body is going to react to that first. It's going to burn that. So, and also with some, depending on what kind of exercise you're doing, sometimes you're burning calories even while you're sitting down because you built that muscle or you've engaged the body, and it's burning more calories trying to I guess make sure that you have the energy.
So this is what I'm thinking. Okay, something that you use a lot of energy for, some activity. Okay, that's what it's saying. And then depending on the activity, so we walk a lot, but there's a lot of activities that you can do that you work up a sweat, or you use energy to do. And that, what they're saying is that however long that is, whether it's 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, some of the activities are equivalent to if you did nothing for 10 hours. Is that what it's kind of, I think that's kind of like, it's similar to like if you just sat, because you're always burning calories even if you don't move. But if you were pretty inactive for over 10 hours,
and 30 or 40 minutes of vigorous or sweating would help counter that.
Right. But if you walk, that's even more used. So that might be that might equate to something differently of vigorous exercise.
Well, I guess when you're walking, making sure you're breaking a sweat, that means you have to involve, you can't just, walk. You have to move your arms, walk with weights, or the intensity of your walk.
Yeah. Because people, the things I know, this is what I do know, is that activity is not what the activity can be a part of the process of losing weight. But what is the major factors in losing weight, from my understanding, research, reading, all that, is of course you lose water, which you have to replenish. But and you're using that energy. But when you're breathing and you're breathing harder and quicker, you're going to breathe differently when you're walking or running or exercising or whatever. Weightlifting is going to affect your muscles. That's causing them to swell up, so to speak. So you build muscles, and it burns the fat to do that. But you also lose fat when you breathe harder and quicker, which is the factors of the vigor. So when you doing something vigorous, you're kicking carbon dioxide and all that out, and that's actually the fat and energy that's coming out. People don't realize that. They was talking about that on TED Talk. I know that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, go ahead.
Hey, watch out now. Don't hurt them handle.
Oh, so, the expert. Got an expert in the house.
But I guess here's the thing we got to get to. For each individual personally, you have to determine what's too much, what's too little, and then where's the balance.
Yes.
So for you, Angela, do you have a good idea of what's too much or too little for you?
I would say this. Honestly, I have to include my mental in this, because too much for me would be me saying, oh man, I've wrote down, or I planned that I was going to exercise for 1 hour. Now, mentally, I could be like, oh man, I could be stressed out about that the whole day because I don't want to do it. Now, if I feel that I'm motivated to do it, okay, I can go an hour, I can go an hour and a half, but when I'm done, I'm all sore and all, my knees, stuff could be messed up depending on what kind of equipment whatever I have on, my shoes and stuff. And we talked about that in one of our shows.
Right.
We didn't have the right shoes, that it wasn't a comfortable thing for me with the walking. Now, if I inculcate weights and stuff like that, sometimes I can put too much on myself when it comes to what I said I'm going to do, or what I can do personally. So walking is best for me when I have the right things on. And sometimes walking too long could be too much.
Right. Because
we've walked, and then if we walk too long, you got to have the time for it. But I can tell just by how my body feels and how my mind is reacting to it.
I call it finding the happy place. So
yeah,
if you hadn't done, let's say if you have a gap, start off a little, like you were saying in another segment, start off a little bit and get yourself back to your happy place. Let's say in the walking part of what we do, our happy place is somewhere in the 3 mile area. 3 miles, maybe a little more. Now, will we do more, or have we done more? Yeah.
Yes.
We've done 5, close to 6 before. And don't say 4. It doesn't, don't say we won't do that again. Sometimes you never know.
I think the most we done was close to 7. So it was 6.6 or 6.7.
Yeah, since we've been around here. Yeah. And then we've done as little, just over a mile, depending on the situation. So we kind of got an idea of that. Also, you don't go lose your mind because you know you had a gap, or you know you didn't eat right, or things like, say for instance, we overly splurge. Like, it's okay to eat something once in a while, but let's say if you overly splurged on some of the too much fatty stuff or too much calorie stuff or whatever, you don't lose your mind and say, all right, I'm going to go walk 1,000,000 miles a day. Because remember, it said in there, which is true, first of all, you don't want to overdo yourself. You got to find your balance, get to that point. But there's a million other activities and other things you can do to help and contribute to your core thing you do. In our case, again, it's the power of the walk.
Yes.
So keep that in mind. Find that balance.
Yeah. And when you're finding that balance also, Christopher, just like you say, it helps with, feeling good about what you do. You know what I'm saying? You're not stressing out about, oh man, I need to walk today. We got to walk today.
Right.
You're not stressing out about that. And also, one thing that I stumbled upon one day, this guy on TikTok was measuring his glucose level and seeing where his glucose spiked by things.
Was it
ate.
close or glucose? No, I'm just playing.
Glucose.
Okay, it's a joke. It's a joke. I didn't mean to mess you up.
So basically, he noticed that his glucose level spiked when he was stressed out.
Ooh.
Didn't have anything to eat, but the stress made his glucose go up, the insulin, level. So I'm telling you guys that, being at, and this is one less thing that you could be stressed out about is how much you're exercising. But when you are planning your exercise regime or whatever it is called,
Regime now.
make sure
Regime.
that you are not overly doing it. Don't overdo it.
Totally agree.
Be just like, even if you starting off small, be at peace with what you're doing. But just know that when you under stress, that think about exercising and that, spiking, but yeah, just be mindful of that too. I didn't know that stress could cause that, which, to be honest with you, if you think about how stress operate, especially when, you're eating, and stressed out, that's a double whammy for you. So, take that into consideration as well.
And that brings me to my next thought is, and you kind of touched on it, if you're able to do what she just said, then you'll start knowing when you need to adjust things, because it's always little slight adjustments you're going to want to make. Even if you've been on track, you've been on your game for a long time, during that process, your body and your mind tell you when you need to adjust. So always keep that in mind. Man, when do I adjust? Don't overthink it. Just kind of listen to your body and your mind and then adjust that balance. Because it's not going to always be like, oh, I was sedentary for a while, or I ate this, or I did that. It'll just be little things that you really got to pay attention to.
Yes.
A big factor that I found, and we talked about it in other segments, but we didn't always connect it to our physical and the mental together, is emotions can throw you off your balance. And somebody, how could, you may say, how could that, if we're letting strong emotions affect us, people that are emotional and want to do something to calm those, they develop cravings for stuff. And they may have their go-to things like those chips and those ice creams,
those Reese's cups,
delicious nutty buddies,
and a Snicker bar, Kit Kats,
Snickerdoodles. But go on and on.
chocolate
right?
chip cookies.
A lot of things help with
cream,
emotions, but recognize those things. Take control of that. Will that in, because your body can let you just have at it, but when you get this straight, you can actually say, you know what, instead of eating that nutty buddy or that chocolate chip or that ice cream and that Neapolitan, whatever it is, I'm going for a walk. And you find yourself back on your routine, and when you come back, several reasons why. First of all, the endorphins, the neurons and everything that makes you feel better, they all kick in. You feel better, you come back, you feel great, and you feel better because you said, I stuck with my goal. I can, and then later on you see the results. and then you can reward yourself for that. What do you think, Angela?
Oh yeah, I like to be rewarded, but you got to do something
Thanks
for
for
the
your
reward. So yeah, I totally agree with you. And one thing I think that we've been good at is rewarding ourselves for doing good. So, and also I would say when you're talking about that, sometimes you'll get, let's say if you get to a point where, you know what, I just rewarded myself out. I don't know what else to do. I don't know. I mean, have you took yourself on a trip?
I ain't never did that.
Take yourself on a trip. There are a lot of things that you can do to reward yourself. It could be shopping. When you lose the weight, you definitely ain't gonna need some more clothes. I've rewarded myself with workout clothes too, just to keep myself motivated, but also it's a reward for me as well. Saving up for certain things too. Money.
Yeah. One part of this document we're looking at, it said that research based on fitness tracker is broadly in line with the 2020 WHO, that's the World Health Organization, guidelines, which recommend 150 to 300 minutes of moderate intensity or 75 to 150 minutes of vigorous intensity physical activity every week to counter sedentary behavior. And the reason why I say sedentary behavior, because everybody's not exactly the same as far as their sedentary behavior. So it's a behavior. It's how we operate. Some people don't know how to sit down. They're just jittery. Some people, man, when they rest, they rest. But that's why they got these ranges. So if we can factor that into some of our goals and some of our activities, I think that'll be of benefit. And it really just depends on what we do. It could be chores. It can be, something you do as a couple. It can be running, walking, cycling. So it can be, it's no one thing. That's another thing. Sometimes you can mix stuff up. If you're the kind of person that likes a lot of that variety stuff. So just keep that in mind as you manage and find that balance to times where you are a little sedentary or times where you have those goodies. You can always balance it out. It's not the end of the world. Never should you be like, oh, well, I'll do that. Time to balance it out. That's the way you got to see it.
Yeah.
The main thing is that you don't do is you do what?
Just don't stop.
There you go.
And that's the thing. Don't stop. If you stop, then that's it. I mean, that is a failure. If you stop, you failed.
Yeah. Now, I wanted to talk about the fact that me and Angela, we have definitely, because you guys know from our other segment, we had COVID, we had some things, and it has been, even now, that has passed, but even now it has been a process. We've been walking, we still walk and everything, and we still do our miles and everything, but we're still trying to get to a point because the two factors of the weather change and just getting back focus is not, I'm gonna speak for me, and then Angela can tell you her side. I know I'm not exactly in the rhythm that I want to personally be, because I know where I want to be and where I need to be at this time for where we are with the seasons and stuff. So I'm not 100% happy with that.
Yeah, I'm in the same place as well. I'm not happy with it. But some of the things that we have done that really kind of offset that is the fact that we're, because of the weather, because we got some cool temperatures, some freezing temperatures, is getting the right gear. We have not gotten the winter walking gear. So we purchased some things. We still got some things that's coming.
Right. But
making sure that we're layering up and have the right gear. That wind is no joke.
Yeah.
When the wind is blowing and it's cold, that is no joke.
It's cold.
You got to be suited up for the weather. Mm-hmm. And some of you guys have some snow. I've seen snow way up there, man. You got feet of
blankets.
Snow.
Yeah.
And you can't walk in that.
And we had a little weird storm, having a hurricane. It was a little small one that came through, cut through.
Yeah, we had
Florida,
a couple of hurricanes.
Kind of went up the East Coast. So,
of course,
tropical storms and depressions, and it did affect us. Not making excuses, but it's just those little things that kind of throw,
Yeah, the rain.
Yeah, just throw a little wrench. And so it's kind of like we are doing it and we're celebrating that. We're not going to knock ourselves down. But at the same time, being committed to our standards is a part of the process. It's important to be realistic. Like, hey, still got to keep reaching up to our where we are. Because if we don't do that, and I allow it to just like, oh, okay, and settle down, eventually it can be a fade out. And then now that's not good. That's why I tell people, man, keep holding yourself accountable.
Exactly. And on the other hand, too, making sure that, if the weather is bad, especially about the rain and the tropical storms or what, if it's just difficult just to get out there, can you do some stuff inside? What can you do inside? Do you have a treadmill? Do you have any other exercise equipment you can work out? Or can you just go and do some deep cleaning? Sometimes deep cleaning will make you break a sweat big time. Now, another thing too, if you got stairs in your home, I'm going to tell you, walking up and down those steps will help.
Yeah.
I'm telling
walking
you.
Around the house.
Yeah, it's like going up a steep hill. Walking around the house, just
inside or outside.
And also, there are a number of free exercise videos that you could do that's free. That's on your television, on your Roku or whatever online service that you're using, or on YouTube, wherever you're using, it's free. You can do that. But my thing too, in regards to that, is sometimes I get bored of that really quick. So I have to mentally, because I prefer to be outside walking.
Yeah.
That's easier for me mentally.
Yeah.
But if I have to I have to prepare myself. I don't know how, if you're the same way, Chris.
Yeah.
We have to prepare ourselves mentally for that. Even row machines are really good.
Mm-hmm.
That'll help too. But just finding something to do when the weather is not cooperating for days. Sometimes it could be days, but I have to get my mind set for that and be motivated to do that.
And that's the balance factor too. So that's a whole separate, because now we're talking about having a maintain. We were talking about having a balance, how you do yourself physically, but this is talking about mentally, because I just told you, hey, I'm not happy with something, but at the same time, I would be insane if I beat myself up. So you got to find a place between when things are not on par with where your goals are, where you want to be, or where you need to get back to, or whatever the case may be, whether it's just you or you have other people, individuals you're doing this with. Find the balance of that voice and that holding you accountable, and keep poking you, because it's not going to give up on you. It's not going to let you go back ever. And then that other part of you that's not going to say, well, just be angry and mad, ruin your day to day, ruin somebody else's day. Find that place where you know what you got to do, but still have the right attitude and know that you're going to get it done.
Yeah.
Because one thing, as long as you breathing, as long as you thinking, as long as you processing things, there's always a tomorrow. When you get up and you're glad that you got up today and your feet hit the floor, you can think about, okay, this is going to be the day I can get it done. And let's say, for instance, something happened where it didn't get done, where you didn't have that power to walk, or you didn't get the exercise or workout or run or whatever it is. The powers that be, there are factors that people that would love to see you go down. But again, you have already decided that's never going to happen, and you get ready for the next day and say, okay, I got to stay on par. Never think it's over. You can't. Stopping is not it's not an option for you.
Yeah.
Once you think that way, hiccups and stuff is just part of the travel and the journey.
Exactly.
We've had them before. This is not the first time. We've had them before. So yeah, I've fought this battle before, and I won, and I'm going to keep going and stuff like that. Again, it's not a full obstacle to us. We still walk. And somebody else may say, well, man, that's good. You walked this thing. That's great. I wish I can do. Everybody has their own thing. Everybody has their own limits. Because we hold ourselves to certain standards, then I know where I need to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And another thing, too, in regards to the exercise as well, is making sure that you're taking the right supplements, like your vitamins, because you're pushing your body through. You're pushing your body to do extra. So make sure that you have the right vitamins or supplements to keep you, to help to sustain you. Because if you don't, that'll make you tired, quickly when your body don't have all that you need. But yeah, for me, that was my challenge also too. Because I'm gonna tell you this: if you're eating the wrong foods, your body's gonna tell on you. Yeah. And for me, there have been some things that I've discovered that does not agree with me. It makes me more tired. It makes me more I don't know, it doesn't give me the energy that I need to be motivated to carry on. So I'm gonna, like, what I'm working on now is minimizing those, whatever I eat, that's causing this. And also, collaborating with, Chris, we do this a lot, making sure we're encouraging each other to get there. Just like he said, COVID did slow us down, and this weather did slow us down, but it's not going to stop us.
And I noticed a difference. Like, I was looking at, when we was walking the other day, and I was like, man, look at that belly. Because that wasn't there the other day. Where did that come? So I know it may be a different shirt, but so that's just, hey, I'm going to, like, I hadn't even jumped on the scale in a minute, because I already know that my body and my mind is like, okay, I'm going to do this a little bit, then I'll check it out if I'm interested. But I already know what I got to do. I don't need a scale to tell me something I already know.
You don't need that extra pressure.
I already know I ain't swole up back to 200 and some ridiculous amount of pounds. But I do know that,
you're not where you want to be.
I got to keep getting it, keep it down, and then maintain, which is what we were talking about here, things you can do to maintain and counteract sedentary time. And
just like we did talk about on one of our shows, that scale is not a good measurement. So it's one, but don't just use that. But it is good for mental health, for peace of mind. If
it's not a motivating factor,
if it's not a motivating factor, you don't have to get on it. You know what you need to do. Just do it. That's it.
Some people are able to use it as a motivating factor, and I say get on it, use it. Look, if it's helping you and just got you pumped, and you're using it because that's a tool. So if that tool is helping you, by all means. But sometimes I have found and seen where people get on it and they get depressed. Yeah, people get on it and they just literally
it ruins the day. And exactly, you should stop.
And if that's how it's being, might need to throw it somewhere. You might need to hide it from yourself.
Get rid of it, because like I said too, I said this too on the previous show. Some people have gotten rid of that scale and lost tons of weight.
Get away from me, because
that was their stressor.
And so that depends on what? It depends on the person.
Yes, that's true.
So you got to remember, we talked about, and we've talked about in the service segments, be honest with yourself. If you like, man, I don't think the scale bothered me, I'm okay, but you find yourself still losing weight, or you didn't stop. Yes, it does. That you looked at that thing and somehow you let it affect you. You didn't even realize it. But think about it. Think about when you get on it, how you feel, what you say, how you affect others after you didn't get off that scale. And if you're feeling good, you left a good effect, you like even motivate you to be harder, okay, leave it there. Because it's helping you. It's just a tool. Because it's not your beginning and end of anything. It's just a tool.
Yep. Also, for some folks, staying off the scale, if you don't see it, what do you start seeing? If you don't see it, then it's not there. That could cause some people to gain weight if they're not looking at that. They're not keeping up with that. Sometimes you can get carried away, and then before you know it, you put on 10, 20, 30 pounds. That could happen too. But what we're saying is that at the moment when you know that you're not where you want to be, but you know that you're getting yourself on track, you might want to kind of wait before you step on that scale again.
Be cool. It's just a tool.
Exactly. Just a tool. Man. Just a tool.
And there's other you don't have to have that, like, oh well, I thought it was going to other people can do that. You can do that for yourself. You can find other achievements. We were talking about those achievements and awards. You can find other ways to do that. But If you can find the good in it, use it. And
I totally agree.
be aware of it. We always talk about self-awareness. That's a 24/7 thing, man. And celebrate it.
Yes, don't forget to celebrate those achievements. I'm telling you, that is motivating.
You can catch us on a lot of things. You can catch us on Facebook and
Yes.
Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and Twitter.
Yeah. And we got a website, www.spice. Oh, spiceolife.com. So that's
That's
a wrap, right?
This is Chris. Now, listen, guys, this is Chris. That's Angela. And again, we love you guys.
Yes.
We want the best for you. Don't give up on yourself. Stay strong. You're always going to have the support. This is the Spice.
Oh, live. Till next time. Goodbye.